Hi, this is Ron Dzinski, and I'm the owner and operator of Beyond PTSD, which is a blog, a vlog, big website. We're going to be offering discounted rates on psychologists, so it's getting to be a pretty significant thing. And if you're looking at this, it's probably you've discovered us by now. But if not, we have a website called beyondptsd.org that you're welcome to come and browse around on and look for us on Facebook. I'm on there all the time talking to people. So in any event, today's web thing is going to be about use of marijuana, and I've had PTSD since I returned from Vietnam in 1969. So I don't know exactly when it got officially diagnosed, maybe several years ago, but certainly I had a long time thinking I had PTSD, but not knowing for sure until somebody actually gave me a diagnosis. So in any event, wanted to talk about use of marijuana. There's a lot of ancillary symptoms that seem to come up. You know, some of which are to do with sleeping and restless sleeping or nightmares or you know just lots of different things that you can get as part of your symptoms. Marijuana is not a cure-all, and first of all, you have to understand that even though it may be legalized in your state, if there was somebody from the Fed decided to, you know, check up on you, and even though you think you're illegal using it, you're not. It's not a federally okay program. So this is a statewide program, and obviously there's probably a smaller chance that the feds would be involved, but if in fact they were, you should be aware of that. So check with your state to find out what the regulations are. Usually what happens, and I have tried it in the past, and I can tell you that there are some real nice benefits from it. It's like having a smoother kind of, maybe instead of alcohol. But I'm not trying to encourage you to use it or discourage you from using it. This is a personal choice that you have to make, whether you want to try it or not. That's up to you, and certainly you should see it that way and do your due diligence before you decide to try it. So the way you have to do it in California, and that's the one that I really absolutely know, is you have to have some kind of a symptom that you've got diagnoses for, that you can go to a doctor who prescribes marijuana as a treatment, and usually that's all they do. So it's a real industry where they can just sit back. And when I went in to get my diagnosis, there was probably 20 people there. All of them were just there for getting a diagnosis for being able to use marijuana for their ailment. I don't know what all they were, but you get a certificate that you can keep with you, and anybody who questions you or stops you for any reason, you can produce this document, which gives you access to legal marijuana in your state. So, and there's lots of shops where you can buy it, so it's pretty cut and dry business proposition. So it's not sneaking around an alley trying to find somebody who's a dealer or something. You go right to the stores, and they're all over the place. So you'd have to kind of look in the phone book, but you can find them fairly easily. So just to keep in mind, though, that it's just a state program, and the VA does not approve it. And the reason that the VA does not approve it, and if you were looking to try to get active because you think it's worked so well for you, I will tell you that the big problem with marijuana is that it's classified as a class 1 drug. So a class 1 drug means that it has uh, no redeemable features. I don't know how that happened or who had the, so, just for my personal opinion, it sounds like a pretty far out claim, because there are things that certainly help. It seems like it helps diabetes. I know it does that, and sometimes pressure headaches, and sometimes, kind of slowing down your metabolism a little bit. So I'm sure that there are some benefits. But being a class 1 drug, it cannot be tested because it's not, there's no, it's been already identified that it has no redeeming features. So the government's not going to pay any money for doing any of these tests. So if you wanted to really get behind the cause and try to get marijuana approved, first of all, you got to get that class 1 drug changed to a class 2. Once it becomes a class 2, then tests can be done. So instead of then it being completely anecdotal, which is personal, my personal opinion is that, or I've tried it and it worked for me, or they do these massive, massive tests and then they have, analytic data that will prove that yes, in fact, this works versus a placebo, or this is work. And then they have a very specialized, as a matter of fact, the government has one of the largest groves of marijuana that they're producing, because they want it to be these pure strains that they can test, make sure that there's no alterations. But the drug that you get anywhere, you don't know how it's grown, where it's grown, under what circumstances, and no matter what they say, you haven't seen it done, so you don't know. So it has to be, it'll only be tested by a legal, through the government. So once that is done, it can be then, subscribed or prescribed by the VA. Up until that time, it's not. And I have heard stories where the VA, if they've done a blood test and find that there's stuff in your, some indication that you've had marijuana and it's in your blood, they can start taking away your benefits because of it. Now, I don't know about that, but that would be something you should definitely check with the VA before you chose to do that, because you never know when you might have to do a blood test. And I would hate for you to think that you're having no problem because you've got legalized marijuana because you're a marijuana state, and the VA looks at it, which is a federal organization, and finds that they don't have to give you benefits because you've used it. So before you choose, to start willy-nilly decide, or dilly-dilly, I guess that's the thing. Before you decide to do that, make sure you do your homework. I mean, it's pretty easy. People are open about it, and you can go and talk to a lot of people and read up some research and find out what's going on. But as I said, until it's changed from a class 1 drug, it is not going to be something that ever will be federally legal, and the VA will never, ever okay it. So VA will probably be the one that will do the studies, and they will maybe select some people arbitrarily and, do the testing on them. And it might be certainly years and years before anything is done in that area. So just as I said, if you choose, and this is not an advertisement for it or against it, I really, it's a personal thing. I mean, people are taking drugs. I took, normal legal drugs for a while before I realized that they were making me worse in terms of how I was feeling than when I didn't take them. So I didn't do well with alcohol. I did that. I really got screwed up with alcohol, and it got me pretty violent, and I had to choose against that. So, I mean, there may be some trial and error you might have to do to see how you do. Some people don't like marijuana, puts them right to sleep, or they get paranoid, and, so there's some pluses and minuses to the actual drug itself. Whether it does or it helps your symptoms is probably a personal thing. But I've said this many times. I'm all for whatever works. I wish I could just be giving you some magic words or give you some magic potion or something that would cure all the things that you're going through, but I know that's just not going to happen. So do your due diligence, find out, what you can tolerate, what you like, what you don't like. There's different strands of it. There's different kinds of things. There's stuff that you can buy more legally, which are the oils and things, which are not they take out lots of the druggy part of things, and gives you sometimes just a nice soothing thing. So you can look into all of that and try it all. I mean, if you're going to try it, you might as well be a student of it to find out what works best. That's again probably up to you, but that's what I would say. Anyway, people say, oh, well, should you, what if the person uses it and then goes to work? Look, if you're going to abuse it, then I'm going to say you shouldn't use it. I mean, that's basically the same thing as abusing alcohol and becoming drunk. I wouldn't say go, get drunk and go to work either. But, if it's something that you can do and at night after you're working and it makes you feel better and, gives you some comfort, and then certainly that life is not meant to be suffering the entirety of it. So do whatever you can to make yourself happy. Anyway, here's how you can reach us. If you like us on the thing. We're looking for lots of people to subscribe to this channel. And we'd like to get a nice following, because there's going to be lots of advantages for people. Come and visit us in our blog. Come and visit us. There's a lot of videos here that are worth seeing probably, and may answer some questions. If you have some questions that you'd like us to cover, I'm up for doing that. Again, I try to do this from a personal standpoint and what worked with me or how I've experienced, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work that way for you, but at least it may give you a starting point. So anyway, like us if you can. If you don't like it, let me know. Write me if there's anything you want to cover. Send it in, and certainly we'll open it up. If you'd like to be a guest disc jockey here, if you'd like to send in a tape and let us look at it, if it's something of value, if you'd like to say, certainly come and say it and put it on. Try to keep it under, let's say, 10 minutes or so, and send it to us, and we'll give you a guest shot. So anyway, it's good talking with you. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon.